Good morning, writers. Happy Monday. Welcome to your Monday Morning Jumpstart. I am Jade Trueblood and I am joined by Pam Foster.
Yay, good morning. Welcome, welcome.
We shouldn't get started. Pam could probably do way better at singing the entire Monday Morning Jumpstart.
I sing even if it's bad, just for fun.
Okay, Pam. So we've talked a lot about clients and getting clients and what they need. But I think something that you do really well, and something is really a litmus for success of a copywriter, is maintaining those client relationships. So what advice can you give? Because now we're talking to somebody, they did that reach out, they've landed that first client. What now?
Well, what often happens, even before you land a client, there are two scenarios I'll show you. So Elise Bennon, who you probably heard of, she's amazing. She helps all of our freelancers get marketing tips and all that good stuff. But one time she referred me to a company that does landscaping services, and they needed help with their emails and websites. So I reached out to them and said, let's get on a call so I can ask questions about your business, and then I know how I can help you. Well, unbeknownst to me, she referred somebody else as well, another writer. I didn't know that at the time. But what he did was just emailed them and said, well, here's how I work and here's my fee. When do you want to start? So I landed the gig because I actually wanted to know about their business and what they're struggling with. And he didn't seem to care about that. He just wanted to throw a pitch at them, and without even knowing really who they are, what their competition is, what they need. So my first tip of the day here is to ask questions, because when you ask a potential client or a new client questions, you're not throwing yourselves at them, you're not pitching them, you're actually starting a relationship that shows that you care about their business, you care about their struggles, what they're trying to do, and you care about helping them. So you may just start with, they said you met them at maybe a trade show, like a local business expo, and they said, we're struggling with our website. It's just not showing up in Google, and it's not giving us results. And so just start asking questions like, well, what is it you're trying to do? What is it you're trying to convey? Who are the people you're trying to reach? And then just stop talking and listen, and let the client tell you everything and give you clues and hints. And oh my gosh, well, when we did our website, this guy did it and then he went to the Bahamas and we never saw him again. So now we're stuck with this website we don't like, and da 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 da. Whatever it is, fact finding is your friend. So just, ask questions and then listen, take notes, because that's how you become a consultant, not just a writer. You're going to diagnose the problem and then help them.
Yeah, and I feel like every business owner wants to talk about their business, right? So if
Totally. Yeah.
you come in there like you know everything, you don't know their business like they know their business, and they like showing of interest would
Yeah.
it creates a relationship, right? Like it's not just you barging in there and I'm like, I'm here. What am I doing? You know what I mean? Like it reminds me even of like conversational tone
Yeah.
in copywriting, right? Like
Yeah.
you're opening up a conversation to start a relationship. You're not going from meeting to marriage, you're courting, you're getting to know each other. And I
Yeah.
also think it helps for like the writer to realize like this is a two-way street. Like with those questions, I'm sure you were also figuring out like, are they right for me? Not just am I right for them,
I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, because it might not be a fit every time, and that's okay. Sometimes you're not right for the client or they're not right for you. This is how you find out. You just start chatting with them and asking questions.
Yeah.
And the other part of that that's beautiful too is that they may actually need something different than they thought they were hiring you for. Like they may say to you, well, we need blogging. Well, okay. So what is your goal with the blogging? Well, we just want to put out information on our products. Okay. So have you thought about what the search is right now on Google for things that you can offer? What are people using for phrases that they go into Google and look for? Like Steve Maurer works in industrial manufacturing, and he gave me the example of hard hats. What are the best hard hats for my construction crew? Well, if you don't ask that of the client and say, what is it that people would put in Google to find what you offer?
Mm.
Then they're not even thinking that way about the client, and I mean about their customers. And you can open that door and they might go, oh, I see what you're saying. So can you do some research for me? So what started out as a blogging request turns into a much more consultative, higher fee gig where you're doing research for them. You're going to go and look on Google and find out what the keywords are, or you're going to something like Answer the Public, plop in the topics, see what comes up. And then you can offer a whole blogging editorial calendar based on the topics that make sense. And that's a bigger fee and a bigger gig than just, can you write a blog post? So I love the idea of listening, asking, fact finding first, and then you can offer the best solutions for the client.
So I was going to ask you how many times you went into a project thinking it was X,
Yeah.
and then after asking these questions, it was XYZ.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times they'll say, well, we need a white paper. And okay, I'm a great writer of white papers, but how are they going to find the white paper? Oh, we're going to be doing ads. Aha, who's writing those ads? And we're going to have a landing page where people give us their email address. Who's writing that? Is it any good? Is it exciting? Is it interesting? Is it going to even get noticed? So every possible project can, what's the word? Mushroom or expand into
Yeah,
other legs of that project that they need. Because it doesn't
yeah,
just, a blog post or a white paper doesn't stand alone. It
yeah.
connects to other things that the client needs help with too. So that's
So
always,
I don't think anybody in business just needs just one thing, right?
yeah,
No, no,
never.
no, never. And I think this also goes back to when you're talking about the trade shows and like just to spark that. I had Nick on here and he was talking about this. He's like, be curious about like people and
Absolutely.
things, and and I would also imagine that that is it feels gentler for the person on the other end because nobody likes to be sold to, right? So they
Right. No,
feel like you're
totally.
just having a conversation with them and not that you're trying to sell them on Pam Foster, the pet
Mhm.
copywriter.
No, and I have a really funny story about that because I have a friend in Maine whose husband had been going through cancer. He's much better now, but she was legally growing cannabis at her house to help him with side effects and things like that. So one day she calls me up and says, "Hey, there's a cannabis growers conference a couple hours up the road. You want to go with me?" I know nothing about that. That's not my world, but I went, sure, it was a Sunday, why not? So we went up to this big like convention center, and it was this huge show with all kinds of booths for lighting and growing supplies and all kinds of stuff. And there was this one booth I walked in, it was beautiful. It had, beautiful graphics. And I said, I don't see your website on your business card or anything. Where is your website? We don't have one. Really? And he goes, yeah, I reached out to ad agencies and they just ignore me. And I said, is that because you're in cannabis? And he goes, I don't even know. I said, well, I can do a website for you. And I did. I'm not a programmer, so I pulled in a couple of people who do that, but I wrote their content. Totally serendipitous, random moment, seize the day, ask questions. Why don't you have a website there? Oh, because we don't have one yet. That opened the door to me doing a project for them, and it was fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Side question, because you brought up um trade shows and things a couple times. Does it usually indicate that they have money to pay a writer if they have money to be at a trade show?
Oh, yeah. It costs a lot of money to have a booth at a trade show. I mean, a regional one like that in Maine you might have only have to spend 20 to 30,000 on a booth. But the big trade shows, like the big annual niche industry trade shows, like in the veterinary world, there's a huge one. Companies have to have at least $100,000 just to be there. And then they have to market the booth. They have to have materials to hand out. They have to spend 6 months getting people excited to go to the booth through email and other communication tools. That is a great world for finding potential clients. Look at trade show and conference websites.
Wow, very, very cool.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
fun.
Pam. So on the tone and on the note of asking questions, curiosity, and building relationships with clients, what is the one thing that you would say to people to like implement right away, whether they have 0 clients or 20 clients,
Yeah. If you meet anyone who's involved in a business, just ask them how it's going. Like, oh, you own a local bakery. How's it going? Well, pretty good. We could use some more traffic, foot traffic on weekends or whatever it is. And you just say, how are you getting customers now? Or what's not working for you? And then just zip it up and listen. And they will tell you stuff where you can suddenly step up and go, I can help you with that.
Yeah. So you make it seem so simple and so easy, Pam. I love it. So good. Well, so unfortunately, Pam's full right now, at least. Last Monday morning Jumpstart with us, but Pam is always on Inside AWAI's,
Yep.
Facebook Lives, articles, all the things in the AWAI world. So keep an eye out for Pam Foster. Pam, a delight as always, and thank you so much for doing this with us.
You're very welcome. And I wish you all success.
Yay. Bye, guys.
Bye.